Hello all, it's me Waku Waku, once again calling out your wannabe Sun Tzu and showing them how real boys play. Today I will be going over Arena of Honor, more importantly strategies you can use to win more games. This new season put a lot more emphasis on offensive house gameplay. Trading posts are still useful as a whole, but they aren't winning as many games now, and I will be talking about when they can still be used, while also going over the altars which are most important for you when choosing to play with offensive buildings, and just in general which are the best. So let us begin. I will first talk about everything to do with offensive buildings, then talk about altars and general gameplay advice after it. So talking about why you should be going offensive, even though my goal is to once again get Glory King this season, I am willing to share with you the secret formula. Now watch how every match after this will be a loss. Taking the watchtowers, catapults, and the dragon lairs is naturally going to net you much more points than going pure trading posts. But how do you get these buildings, you ask? Well, that's simple, you just need to counter the troops inside them. Easy, right? Well, they seem to go on a cycle. Our last round had cavalry and the round before had infantry inside, so you would assume the next game will have spearmen inside. You can get away with all max-level offensive towers using the same troop type as what the watchtowers have, but this will not work against the catapults as they have just too many troops apparently. This is when I will tell you that no, you have to demolish and reconstruct the buildings if you want to swap the troop type. I generally don't suggest going bowmen as, although they ignore the counter system, they just won't do enough damage. That's not to say they're useless, but don't be relying on it. The leader in the faction can select what targets are priority from your house's offensive. These include the dragon pits, watchtowers, catapults, and the glory city. Do note that it is instant capture for the watchtowers and catapults, and the march will sit in dragon pit if they occupy it. They will by default attack the next selected or available building when their priorities are finished. Your marches will push to enemy houses to capture and occupy it, and once they succeed in battle and knock the enemy out will start the occupation process, a full 2 minutes where you must defend from the enemy's counterattacks. You can Lord March this and reinforce it, and your team should communicate this if possible beforehand. Have one rally lead ready to at least have their lord present in the building. Once the enemy wins the defense, it will instantly lock the enemy who before occupied the house from entering and will need their NPC to again attack the building and begin the occupation all over again. Once an enemy house has been captured, you can attack their buildings, which will take 2 minutes to occupy, and once done you get the bonuses and offensive power of those buildings. However, do note the faction can attack these despite not holding their house. I am not sure if this is a bug, but just keep that in mind. Altars are some of the most important buildings in the map for the buffs they give, although they aren't all equal and some will have higher priority over others. Don't underestimate the first 200 points you can get from them. This is a double-edged sword, as bringing your faction more points at the start is important but can also bring more attention to you as well. There are buffs for your players, region buffs, house buffs, mining speed, trading amount, and lastly healing speed. Each altar can give a specific type of buff, and now is a set buff, unlike previously where you selected the buff. These come in 3 tiers, and we will start with the Father, who will buff players' troops stats. These can go up to 400% bonuses, so yes, they're impactful. Median will grant you point yield bonuses. These are for your trading posts. Altar of the Smith increases mine gathering speed. Altar of the Crone increases players' stats while fighting in their region. Altar Warrior increases your clan castle stats. And lastly, Altar Stranger, which will give a random buff and have higher chance to gain deployment speed up. It is clear in identifying which Altara are priority for the certain builds you will play. The Father is the most general and must control on the map when it is a fairly even game, or just for tightening the power gap between players. The Crone is weird in that it only provides stats when fighting in your region, so as a whole beyond defending your own base it is basically pointless. The same could be said about Smith, where increasing mine gathering speed is great, but isn't must control on the map, and even when the mines do open around the map, a decent team can control a few while preventing enemy factions from occupying and controlling others with counterattacks. The mines are the main turning point in the late game where factions can widen the gap or surpass factions above them in placements, so it is a 50-50 whether you see these as worth it. Median is only going to be useful when you are going full trading posts. You would want to occupy and capture as many as possible on the map, especially when others go full trading and no one is confident enough to be going offensive. These will influence who will get into top 3 in those types of games. And lastly, the warrior and stranger. Some of the best altars there are, increasing your clan castle troop stats and giving you high chance to obtain deployment cooldown reductions. More stats and attacks from your clan castle means more capability to capture enemy houses and occupy more buildings around the map. A decent team will keep their house reinforced well and will be on alert if you attempted to capture them, but the rate of attacks from your house can be unexpected. Moreover, just occupying buildings around the map faster and chipping down enemy defenses held in those buildings quicker so you can overpower and occupy them. As a whole, the transition into going more offensive in the game mode, I believe, was a positive addition, and we will see more and more factions using it. In those cases, going full trading while everyone else fights with offensive can secure you top 3, or at least 4th place. Over time, you'll get experience and your team will get better at offensive anyways, but for that to happen, you need to start using them, and good luck out there. You got this.